And then I said, so you guys wake up and, oh man, the Trident Paladin is sick for some reason. I think it might be allergies.
Yeah.
So we just role played it the entire 3 hours.
Which is
it's actually
awesome.
a magical curse.
Yeah, it's a magical curse. By the way, which is kind of weird because my morning session kind of people got sick. We have 4 members. One is getting back from the sickness, and all of 2 of us is like getting sick, like sick as a dog. And the last girl, she's like just about to get sick. It's like, okay,
God,
3 period of sickness, which is awesome.
It's like. Oh God! It's like, okay, one of them's not sick anymore. Now we can get back to
No, not gonna happen.
No,
So
never.
yeah,
Just-
I didn't know
just
it's
power
contagious via the internet. It's like damn near impossible. Yeah.
That's how all sicknesses work, man. I've come to understand that.
Yes, it spreads through the internet.
It's the
higher the
internet
bandwidth,
virus.
the more likely that you're going to get sick.
Yes.
I'm
How's
pretty sure I
everyone
could
else
post that.
By the way.
Oh, I'm pretty good.
I had a lot of work. I have a lot of work, especially in the later half of the week.
Oh. that
Yeah.
sucks.
It was, I don't know what happened up in Canada, but I know down here in New York it was snowing.
Yeah, it was kind of snowy. The problem we had is that trucks weren't showing up. We were like, where's the third truck that's supposed to be here? And I look at my buddy, and he's like, I don't know. And I look to my manager, and he's like, I don't know. And I look to his boss, and he's like, I don't know.
No,
I'm
for
like,
me,
so are we going to get any work done today? No? Great. Awesome.
for me, it was the wind. Apparently the wind was so bad they actually closed down the highway so the trucks couldn't get through.
Oh my.
Oh,
God.
no.
Yeah, because they didn't want the trucks getting blown off. So, like so they canceled our work shift that night, and then the next day, like,
It's
for
just
the last 2 or 3 days.
essentially.
Oh, major backlog. I've been working 14-hour days for the last 2 or 3 days.
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Still,
God.
we get to play D&D.
We get to play D&D.
So that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our rogue was not able to make it,
Yeah.
which is a real pity because I had a couple of very good questions I'd like to have asked him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right, because he'd asked something in return.
Yeah.
Did he end up PMing you?
He
Any
gave me
questions?
one question, the only one he could really think of.
Oh well, that's good. At least we can hear that.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm curious.
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
Unfortunately, I don't know how he responds to one of my questions, which is real pity because it's a good question.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what you do? You know what you do, Falcon? You
But,
say he whispers the response,
Yeah.
ah,
And tell him the
Good.
next time.
and then
See
and
how
then
he
tell him
reacts.
the question, and then it could be a mystery as to how he
Good.
responded.
yeah, he already knows the questions. I already PM'd him what I was planning to ask him,
Okay.
Okay.
so he can give me a response.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Cool.
we can ask him the next session. We're like, okay, in character, like, oh, you never really.
Flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not even flashback. Just say like, we didn't hear your answer.
Yeah,
What
we
was
didn't
your
hear
answer?
Just ask him.
Yeah, all right.
All right. I'm
At
excited.
any rate,
Oh,
last time
Mhm.
you faced an enemy who was much smarter than you.
Yes.
Yeah, sure, you were able to lock him down with an anti-magic field, but in doing so, you taught him a lot about what you could do.
Yep.
Fast leaky bastard. He just
Yes.
ran away
So,
from me. Yeah.
Silvanna kept casting scrying spells, but she could not find the guy or his phylactery. Meanwhile, Vierl and Alexander shared a moment in Alexander's new abbey,
Mm-hmm.
and Vierl also learned that Robin is currently suffering from guilt over what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Trying to figure out what to do with Zan's vampire god amulet. You plane shifted to Banter's little refuge plane, only to discover that the vampire angels have attacked and wrecked the place.
Yeah.
You were attacked by 2 of them, only to have your old friend, the Gold Dragon Sergus, pop in, more like force the angels to end their astral projection spells.
Mm-hmm.
He then proceeded to use his dragon breath to melt the amulet.
Yeah.
And then he gave you a little tour of the place.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because we needed to wait for Audie to.
He's like, so as long as we're waiting for Audie to recharge, I'll give you the grand tour.
Not
and after-
the best site. The surroundings
Yep.
are damaged. Like,
Yeah. And after raising Ibanta from the dead, he plane shifted out, and then you guys plane shifted to the Cathedral of Fate, located deep within the Shadowfell. You guys managed to make your way through the various tests that the Cathedral offered. Vierl and Alex, I believe, ended up succumbing to despair, brought on by the malaise of the plane.
Yep.
And there you met Vorkhesis, the son of the Raven Queen and the Master of Fate. And he has offered to answer any of your questions truthfully. But in return, you instinctively know that in return, he will ask you one question in return, and he'll expect you to answer truthfully too.
Okay.
Sort of like, it's sort of like a you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah, it's a trade essentially.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, you saw the picture of him. He's blind. He's got one hand. He looks at you and says, "Yep."
This music's dope.
So the White Palace from Hollow Knight.
Nice.
May that place forever be lost. No, trust me, it's a nightmare to get through.
Yeah,
the only thing worse than that is the
all
pain.
night, like, oh my god, it's so hard.
Alright, but anyway, he looks at you, Vorkhesis spreads his arms wide, he says, "Well, what is it you would ask of me?"
Do you want to go first, Silvanna?
Sure, why not? I step forward, looking directly at Fate.
At the guy.
Yeah, at Fate in the eyes.
In his blind eyes, yes.
Yes. I know he's like. I just had the sense that even though he's blind, he can sense what I'm doing.
He can sense where you're going, essentially.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "So, here's my first question. Do you have the power to bring back all of my family in their prime condition?"
He says, "I do not. You must destroy the vampire god in his entirety if you wish to bring them back."
Okay.
I swallow like a little bit and then right.
Now I have a question for you, Silvanna Undershine.
Shoot.
I understand you were tricked into making your warlock pact. But beyond that, what exactly led you to try to go for the magical path of power? You were being trained in the use of unusual weapons by Lagertha. What led you to choose magic?
Well, I look down, especially on the rod of Lordly Might, and look at the others, and just continue saying, well, as a kid, well, even as of this moment, I have an issue to fight people in a close quarters. Not that it's too hard to wield the weapon, but more like it's too close. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but it just feels.
You rather fight from a distance.
Yeah.
He tilts his head and says, "It's easier for you to kill from a distance than to be up close and watch the life drain from the eyes of a person you just killed."
Not that. It's more like from a distance.
They can't hit you?
I don't have to be drawn to that passion of killing.
I see.
From a distance, I can
okay.
calculate.
Gotcha.
I
see.
be cool. Yeah.
You retain control of your emotions when you fight from a distance.
Yes, and it's all me.
I see. So, any other questions you would like to ask of me?
Can we take turns?
Okay.
You can if you want.
Sure. I'll throw one out there. Why not?
He's addressing that to the entire group.
To the entire group. Yeah.
Okay. I back down and just
Alright.
Okay.
step behind Alex.
Okay. This is an interesting opportunity for us. So, my question to you, my first one anyway. Strahd. He tells me that he's a changed man, that he is trying to turn over a new leaf and redeem himself. As one who has had my own list of regrets, part of me wants to believe him. My question is, do you know if he's telling the truth? Or is this just some attempt to strike at us when we least expect it?
That's a nice.
No, what he does, he doesn't answer immediately. He tilts his head to the side. He starts to think, almost like he's thinking about something you don't know. And as he does, he's looking directly at you, but you notice that he's inverted his spear and he's using it to scratch something into the floor.
Okay.
And then he answers, Strahd believes that he's turning over a new leaf. And should the vampire god die, Strahd will be freed of his curse, so long as he is outside of Barovia.
I see.
He'll become a man once more, in the prime of youth. He will have the second lease on life that he's desired.
Okay. So that gives him a good incentive to want to help us.
Yes. You are the path you are the path for him that he must take if he wishes to accomplish his goals. Now I have a question for you, Alexander Anderson.
Go ahead.
He thinks for a moment like he's trying to figure out how to word this. He's still scratching very slowly. You can see that he's scratching words. You can't tell what he's writing just yet. Then he asks, how do you view Heinkel and Kasumi? I know they're students, they're your understudies. You don't have to tell me that, but think deeply for a moment. And then answer me truly. How do you view them? Are they simply prize students? Are they as daughters to you? Who are they to you?
Alexander takes a moment. To me, Heinkel and Kasumi were a combination. They were students that I could be proud of, and they were a pair of daughters that I never had. I never married, I never found a family, and in those troubling years, I found the family I was looking for with them.
Vorkhesis is just nodding as he's listening very intently.
I hear typing sounds.
I'm scared.
Don't worry, it's just me looking up something. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, don't wonder what I'm sending you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not sending someone something else that the other guy can't see. Don't
He's
worry.
sending Vierl. He's giving Vierl the answer I've been looking for. But yeah, that is how Alexander responds, because truthfully, I care about them as a family, and I am so very tired of seeing them being taken away from me. And I just sit and wait. I'll stand and wait.
He nods. It says, very well. If either of you have a question, ask.
Vierl?
All right.
Vierl.
Vierl, hello?
I know what Vierl is going to do.
Vierl, you stealth too hard. Come back to
me. Vierl is going to say, Vierl only sent me one question, but it's a very interesting question.
Okay.
Yeah, Vierl is looking a little pale. You see him swallow a couple times before he speaks. And he just says, he just says, why did my parents have to die? And when he asked that question, Vorkhesis, who's been just scratching into the floor nonstop, you see him just pause with that for a moment. And then he says, for the same reason that Silvanna's family had to be taken away. If they were still there, if you were the person you once were and you did not endure that sacrifice, then you would never be able to face the horrors that you face now. It was if it makes sense, it was a hardening experience. It prepared you for the tasks ahead of you. It's not an easy thing to hear, but it's the truth. Your families were taken so that you could prepare, so you could be prepared to fight. They were taken so that they couldn't be targets of opportunity that your enemies could attack to hurt you. And then they start scratching again. It says, now I have a question for you, Vierl. And for you too as well, Silvanna. If at the end of all of this, when the vampire god is dead and you stand as the masters of the world, and you try to raise your families and discover that by our queen's decree, they are not to be raised, but to be allowed to rest eternal, will you accept that? Vierl thinks for a moment. He beckons for Vorkhesis to lean down, and he holds his hand up so you can't read his lips, and he whispers something into the massive Sorrowsworn's ear. And Vorkhesis just nods once, keeping a complete poker expression on his face.
I wait until Vierl's finished. And
Yeah, he's done.
Alright, I move a little bit forward, and I say, if and only if they are willing to pass into the afterlife, I will say yes. Most of them have suffered enough. If I can talk to them, tell whether they're willing or not to reside in a permanent rest or to come back. It will be their choice, and I will help them achieve that, no matter which direction they choose. Even if that means, you see Silvanna bites her lips for a bit.
Yeah.
And just looks directly into Vorkhesis' eyes, his blind eyes, and just says, even if that means I have to go up against the queen herself.
Oh.
Yeah, he just nods. He says, "It may not be as easy as you think."
Oh, I know I will probably perish, but at least I'll die trying.
He says, "That is always the lot of mortals, to rail against their inevitable end. It is admirable, though a little futile." He says, "Now it's your turn to ask."
Okay. I step forward to the crowd.
You notice that when you basically threaten the Raven Queen, he doesn't even really flinch.
I know.
He doesn't seem astonished. He's just calm, very calm about this whole thing.
I know what he's thinking at this moment. Silvanna kind of gets it, because it's like...
Yeah, he's thinking, how do I beef up my defenses?
No. It's like, Silvanna knows that to the god's eyes, or the goddess, we're just mere insects, like bugs, can be squashed and squandered, which is nothing compared to their strength, but she's ready to die for it. Even Anyway.
it's kind of it's so fitting because that's like Silvanna has always fought fate.
Yeah.
Like that was sort of Silvanna's big like character moment for her throughout this campaign.
Yeah.
And I look into Vorkhesis' eyes. This time I stretch my wings a little bit, fly up in the midair.
Yeah.
And
So you can fly up and actually look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just ask, why are... no, scratch that. Who are my biological parents?
Oh, that's right.
He tilts his head and he
Because
says,
even I don't know. Even I have no I only
he
know
says-
there are Dusk Elves. I have no clue who they are, who they might be.
I thought I answered that question. Hang on.
No,
Yeah, I did. Oh, you wanted to know what they were like?
yeah. They only describe them as Dusk Elves. From what's his name? Sorry.
Casimir?
Yeah, Casimir.
Casimir, yeah.
Yeah, from his word, they're just Dusk Elves, but I don't know who they are. What they do.
It's almost like you wanted to know who they are as people.
Yeah.
Like
Silvanna
if
want
you
to
could.
know, who
To
they
kind
are.
of give like it's like to her it's like it's a very vague picture. She wants to
Yeah.
see the full.
Yeah.
Says. He thinks of what he says. Their souls were trapped in Barovia upon their death. They did not pass into our queen's care, and as such I cannot access that knowledge. But I will say this. The souls that were trapped in Barovia while Strahd ruled would reincarnate every few years or so. If you wish to see what your family was like, what your biological parents were like, travel to Barovia, to the town of Kresk. You'll find them there.
Oh shit!
That is actually way better than I expected.
Wow,
in
that's
character, in like
not character.
player-wise,
Yeah.
in player-wise,
Yeah.
in character-wise, is like she just kind of happy
I'm sorry.
to hear that. No, it's actually
That's all.
better. She actually kind of happy to hear that. Because that means she'll have a place to look for.
She'll have a face to put to
Yeah.
a name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, they will be human. I will warn you, they were reincarnated into the bodies of humans, but they will have a distinctly elven cast.
Okay.
They'll be human, but if you squint just right, you could probably mistake them for at least a half-elf.
Okay.
They will not recognize you. They will experience a sense of deja vu, but they will not know you beyond Silvanna Undershine's savior of Barovia.
Okay. Ooh. Anything else?
And he says,
Well, I guess the question to you.
well, I have a question for you.
Wait, you already asked.
Ah,
That's not
No, you didn't.
fair.
hold on. No, what question did he ask? I don't remember. I honestly
With
don't.
Vierl, he asked first, then I asked.
Well, that was like a two. Oh, I guess yeah. That's
It's
kind of
separate
true.
People.
That you
It's
try and
too-
you want to persuade a god.
He's
No,
like,
not persuade. It's like it's only fair. We play by your rules. And you have to honor it yourself.
he says, no, it's just fine. He says, Jordan says, well, sometimes my questions encompass multiple people. After all, there's only one of me and there's 4 of you.
I guess that could be a somewhat fair point.
Yeah. True.
So is it? Do you want me to go next? I guess.
Yeah, Alex, go ahead.
Okay. All right. This is definitely more of an informal one that I've been curious for a while.
All right.
So he looks at him and says, "Do you know the source? The undead curse roaming the lands.
He
It
says,
seems that there are many places in which the dead keep coming back to life. We saw it on the outskirts of Silverthorn, and we saw it near Pravnova. A dragon that I killed only a couple days later came back.
he
It's been
says,
something that's been lingering on my mind.
that would be the vampire god. He passes himself off as a god of life, but the truth is he's a god of death. His influence is great enough that he raises that the dead simply pop back to life just by his presence. It'd be like an entity from the far realm arriving in the world and then life warping into some aberrant parody of itself.
Oh, I think someone explained that to us a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to confirm it, I guess.
Yeah. So he says, now I have a question for Silvanna. He says, most elves are vegetarians, yet you've eaten meat in your life.
Yes.
What is your favorite food?
She actually thinks for a hard moment. And just turns around and says, well, I can still remember the food Bertha once made me for the long training of our weaponry. And it's always bacon with sunny side up eggs. That's it.
That's awesome.
That's the simplest food, but yet that's the thing I'm most fond of. I guess that's why I also love meat.
All right. I will let Alex make an insight check if he likes.
On me?
No, just on Vorkhesis.
Okay.
Why he would? Am I assuming I'm inciting as to why he would ask this?
Yeah, this is like a very odd question for the Master of Fate to ask.
Can I
Yeah,
incite as well?
because to me, it's like what is your name?
Yeah.
What is your favorite color?
Yeah.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking the entire time. 21.
All right, with that check.
Inside. Yeah.
19?
19?
All right, yeah, good checks, good rolls. Vorkhesis has been basically trapped inside of this place. I mean, even if it's by his own free will, he's still basically trapped here. He has not lived. He rarely meets anyone. The people who come here are exceptional. So to his mind, they're almost like ordinary people. Because like people who like live in towns and villages and crap, they're like almost completely beneath his notice. It takes a very special kind of mortal to warrant him personally meeting them.
Right.
That is the kind of mortal that actually passed the test that you did. What he's doing is he's trying to get a sense of what life outside of this cathedral is like.
Yeah.
And to do that, he asks questions, not just to learn about like deep facets of your personality, but also to learn like a little bit of like just, you think it's meaningless trivia, but to him it helps him visualize how people live outside of the cathedral.
Yeah. So it's like he's trying to like
grasp a
find
sense of
like
normalcy.
grasp a sense of normalcy, but also like figure out like what are in these people's lives.
What drives them to come here and ask me these questions? What drives you to risk life and limb to come up here to pass these tests, to try to risk getting killed, and then you start asking me all these questions? Why would you do that? What could possibly
lead you to risk your own lives for answers like this?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Now it's my turn?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I look at Vierl before I was like, anything else?
Now, Vierl's going to think for a moment, and he's going to say, what is Zan's true name?
That's
I had that written down. I was gonna ask that if nobody did.
That's really good.
Yeah. He's just going. Vorkhesis goes back to scratching into the floor. He says his original name. He doesn't even remember his own original name.
That's really good.
He's been his identity as a lich has consumed him entirely.
I see.
I just got a message from Vierl.
Oh shit!
He's about
No,
to
let me say,
join.
he's not coming.
No, he's
I don't
not.
think he's coming, but he's answering.
He's probably got it. He's probably got Discord on his phone right
Yeah.
now, so that's probably why he could answer. But that's
Yeah.
cool. He's with us in spirit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
A little response to him. All right. Okay. So that's what he would say. Got it.
Mhm.
All right. So to answer Vierl's question,
Mhm.
Vorkhesis would say. He said that. What's he say? He said the identities let's just consume them. It's like the vampire god consuming the personalities of Silvanna's parents and family.
Mm-hmm.
So in response, he said his name, the one he goes by now. He goes by Skullzan.
Skullzan. Oh.
Zan, the name he gave you, is just a nickname that was given to him.
Ah, I see. Yeah, Skull Zan
Yeah.
and Zan. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, he just
gotcha.
he says it wouldn't have worked. You wouldn't have been able to gate him in with just Zan. You didn't need to say his full name.
Yeah.
He's still.
That's
Yeah.
smart. Yeah.
He says, now, what is he going to ask you? Mm-hmm. He's going to look at Silvanna and say,
Okay.
if you get, actually not Silvanna, Alexander actually, because that's going to be probably the more interesting one. He can guess what Silvanna's going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to look at Alexander and say, assuming victory in your fight against the vampire god, what will you do afterwards? You are a young god after all.
Alexander thinks for a moment and he says, I will do my best to keep protecting the people that I care about. Because I don't want to be remembered as the butcher of Silverthorn. I want to be remembered as something else. That is what I honestly and truthfully would do. And I would... Oh, yeah?
Sorry, I pat Alex on the shoulder as he clearly still haunts by his past, so it's like... Okay,
Yeah.
as he says that.
I do give you a nod of thanks for that. And I say that I would, after all this is done, do everything in my power to find a way to bring Heinkel and Kasumi back.
He says, he just nods, he says, Vorkhesis just says, your current path leads you to that goal. Follow it.
Okay, interesting. I do give him a nod with that. And so I guess I can ask my question now, or?
Go right ahead.
Okay. I have a question for you now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my compatriots, Silvanna and Vierl, went into the plane of fire. They overheard something. Overheard a plan. Something about Mephistopheles. He was planning something big. That plan has something to do with Silvanna. And there is a prophecy that Vierl and I can stop it. Do you have any idea what that plan is?
Yeah, he finishes writing what he was writing on the floor. And you can see that what he wrote are the words, behold, I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Okay.
And then he just reaches out with his foot. You see that his feet are bare. He's got pale, almost skeletal feet with long black nails. And he just puts his foot on and then he just wipes it away. And he says, Mephistopheles has lived under the thumb of Asmodeus for countless eons. As long as he can remember, anyway. He would like nothing more than to be higher than Asmodeus. Mephistopheles plans to take advantage of coming chaos to try to ascend to godhood. Silvanna is instrumental in that plan.
How so?
He says, Silvanna will help him along that apotheosis, either by slaying a god, or by protecting him as he goes about his apotheosis.
I see.
She will have to choose, because Mephistopheles, once he reaches godhood, combined with his own infernal powers, he may be able to bring her family back from the brink of vampirism. But in order to do that, the price he will exact from her will be your death and Vierl's death. She will have to choose which family she forsakes.
That's a really good scheme, actually.
That's actually quite a good scheme.
He says, that's not what this is. That is not something the Raven Queen decreed, by the way. That's just her letting it play out.
I see. And you have a question for me, I'm assuming?
It says, well, for Silvanna, actually. He says,
I wear every day.
no. He says, I'm certain these two have things that get on your nerves. They have attributes that get on your nerves. And I'm sure they've gotten on your nerves more than once during your travels together. Why have you stuck it out with them?
Why do I stick it around?
Yeah.
I look at Silvanna and I jokingly say, yeah, why do you stick around, Silvanna?
Particularly since Mephistopheles has promised you your freedom, and he will follow through on that if you help him out.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
You could ask him for devils bound to your every command, and he'd give them to you. Why do you stick with them? Why do you stick with Alexander and Vierl?
I kind of laugh, slightly bitter. It's like kind of like a not really hearty laugh. I know, Mephistopheles. Now that I'm a little bit achieved warlock per se, I know that Mephistopheles actually has no bounds over retrieving the power he already signed to me. However, his influence is, in every other aspect of life. And I am happy for I have friends, even though they irritate me more than once. And I look at Alex in the eyes, more than once, and I squint at Vierl as well. Probably kick him in the thigh.
What did Vierl do? I know I did a bunch of dumb shit, but what did Vierl do?
Well, Vierl did his fair share of dumb shit. So.
Oh yeah, he did tell you a lot of shit a couple seconds
and he stabbed me.
ago.
Like.
Oh yeah,
there
were
a few sessions ago. So I kick him in the thigh. Yeah, just joking.
Yeah, Vierl's just like, ow.
Yeah, you deserve that. But they are, for me at this moment, an anchor in my life.
He nods.
I value them as much as I value my own family. So, yeah.
He nods. Just says, all right then. What would you ask of me?
Yeah, my question. Oh my god, so I've got so many of them.
I'm excited. This is actually a lot of fun.
Yeah,
this is really fun.
I really enjoyed it.
Little soul searching.
Yeah, I love it.
So
take it from the top.
Yeah, Silvanna kind of steps once again forward.
Yeah.
and just says, "So, is there any way to turn my living family, well, more like, is there any way you can do to help turn my still living, breathing family back if they were altered by either Orcus or by the vampire curse?"
He says, "Perhaps, but it is not my place to do so."
That follows up the second part. Why are you binded? Why
Says,
are you unable to intervene? If you're so powerful and you're the balance of nature, clearly vampirism is not a balance in nature.
he says, "Would that I were able to. However, there's a couple of reasons. You may not know this, but at the dawn of all things, there was a massive war between the gods that almost wiped out creation. After that war, the gods all agreed that it would be best if they did not intervene in the world, for the sake of all the souls that live there. If it helps, think of them as arming up for the next great cosmic war."
There's always another conflict, isn't there?
Says, he just nods and says, "That's the fate of it all."
So,
What was this?
We're all pawns in the greater
Even the gods, yes.
sense, cosmos sense. Okay.
Even the gods are just pawns, yes. My mother, the Reverend Queen, spends much of her time trying to figure out what this greater plan is. But so far it has eluded even her.
I kind of whispered to Alex at this point and say, "I thought God knows everything." Shit.
I can tell you, I can. Great.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
It says, Vorkhesis
yeah.
says, "We're knowledgeable, but we're not omniscient. There's a difference between the two, you know."
And I do look at Silvanna and I say, gods, they certainly do have great insight, but there are many that go against expectation. There are some that go against the expectation who are standing right next to me. And I kind of chuckle a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, says, "Now it's my turn.
Go ahead.
Mhm.
Vierl,
Ooh. I love this part.
you may not
DM,
you may not
DM
be able
talking
to-
to DM himself.
Yes.
Best part ever.
Hey, DM, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing just fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, long time no see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing just fine, buddy. How are you doing? Oh, I'm doing just fine.
Oh God, fucking Wormwood's back. Great.
Alright, anyway, seriously though.
Yeah.
Vorkhesis looks at Vierl and he says, I may not be permitted to bring your parents back to life, but their souls are currently in my custody. Would you like to speak with them one last time?
What?
Vierl just kind of looks shocked.
I kind
Oh,
of kick him in the
Jesus.
ass as he's like, looking shocked. I was like, "What are you fucking waiting for?"
Yeah,
No.
this is like something he did not expect.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was like, immediately kick him in the ass.
He's like, hey, just say yes, man. It was like, he just like, yeah, yes, okay, yes. And then Vorkhesis leads him to a private corner, secluded, somewhere where we could have privacy.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him use his massive barbed spear to stab two holes in the ground in front of Vierl. And then he comes back to you, looking like he's almost like ice skating or gliding across the floor. You can't tell.
Hmm.
Then he says, "Now, what do I ask you? Says, says Silvanna.
Oh, okay.
Same question I asked Alexander. Assuming everything goes your way, what do you plan to do with the rest of your life?
This is actually really good because Silvanna like swallows like really big like swallow and it's like I want to, this may sound like a foolish wish, I want to see the bigger picture. I want to go beyond what mortals can be. I want to ascend.
He just says, welcome to the club. Now, what question would you like to ask me?
Alex?
Okay, I got a list right here. Okay, I asked that one. I asked that. I really want mine to be the last. I really
if
do.
that's the
I
case,
want mine to be the last.
If that's the case,
If you got any couple more you want to ask, tell me when you're ready, and I'll ask the next one.
Yeah, you don't have to take turns.
Yeah, this is a follow-up. So, if I were able to pull off such a foolish dream, will I be able to be finally free of Mephistopheles' grasp?
Yes. It will cost you your warlock powers, but you will be free.
I don't need warlock powers if I ascend to godhood. Like, yeah, it's
that is
yeah.
that is one way to look at it. So
He just says, that's true.
Yeah.
But it will be a long and arduous path, and unlike Alexander, you don't have divine blood to give you a leg up.
I know. But we all have to start somewhere.
That's true.
Someplace.
I do look at him as he says that. Yes. It's that glimmer.
Yeah. All right. So meanwhile, Vierl is deep in conversation with two spectral figures. You can't quite make out the details.
Yeah.
Right.
That's really good. Right.
Yeah. You see, Vorkhesis, he looks at that and he just he looks at it and he looks back at you. You actually see him. He actually turns his head to look at it, and then he looks back down at you guys. He says, "Silvanna,
Go ahead.
what was it like living with your family?"
It's like she kind of smiles when she thinks of it, and she just continues saying, "It's like every day you're in a loud, crazy carnival that everyone's so cheerful and alive, and everything's just so vibrant. You can taste the sound, you can see the music flowing in the air. You can see happiness in people's eyes. I mean, I would say that was part of my life that's maybe not the happiest, but definitely most happy, but definitely happy moments. One of the few happy moments.
Yeah, he just nods. He mutters something under his breath and then says, "What would you like to ask now?" By the way, if you want to try to hear what he said, make a perception check.
Oh, okay. Definitely. Why not?
Why not?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, Alexander heard what he said.
Okay. You can whisper to him if you...
Yeah, he said, all right. No.
Ooh, mysterious whispers.
Yeah.
All right.
Vorkhesis is typing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, that's
wait,
the
let me
best.
text you the following answer.
Wrong one.
The following whisper.
All right. All right. So, what would you like to ask?
For my next question will be what are the trials I have to overcome in order to ascend to godhood?
He says, that will depend on the path you take. If you want to try for deicide and absorb a god's power, then you'll have to find a way to get onto their celestial realm, or their infernal realm, as the case may be. Kill the god proper, make sure that they stay dead. Vierl could probably help you with that. And then find a way to capture and absorb their divine spark into yourself. Or you could try to artificially reproduce that divine spark. And no, I'm not going to give you a foolproof plan for doing it, because there are many ways that you can go about it. Sometimes it just spontaneously happens, though. You can just sit down, cross your fingers, and hope that it'll happen to you.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, my question to you, Silvanna. What's your view of her? And he points to Spirit Cairo, who's been kind of hanging in the back, just listening to all of this.
That's interesting.
She was the one who turned your family into the monsters they are in the first place. Almost all of your family. She did, even though it was against her will, even though you did see her rip her own hand off, and then she does come and she helps you now as an act of penance. What are your views of her now? And if you don't want her to hear, you are more than welcome to whisper into my ear.
No. Actually, I want everyone to hear. I have nothing to hide. And I turn around and look at Kyra and just says...
Yeah, Kyra's wearing her mask so you can't see her expressions.
She was a sworn nemesis that caused trauma and damage to my entire family, who I sworn to kill. But for now, I accept her as a part of the team. I wouldn't say I forgive her for what she's done. And part of me,
Even though it was not her fault.
Part of me thinks I can never let that part go. I know it's not her fault, but
because you see, he just like, when you mention that you wanted to kill her, you see that he actually smiles grimly at that.
yeah.
And then he says, I see.
Yep.
He just notices, I see.
Yep. I made my peace with that fact.
Sort of.
Yeah.
If you had made your peace, you would have been able to let it go.
I know.
Now, what question would you like to ask of me?
So, speaking of Bahamut, I know he offered a really he offered to die for me. He said he has a way to come back and help us destroy.
So here's the interesting thing.
Yeah,
Alexander has not heard that.
Yeah,
and
Alex
he
is like,
immediately goes,
yeah,
what?
I totally dropped the bomb right here
Because this is just, you see that he gets, because it just smiles again.
Yeah.
But this time he's just like, he seems kind of smug about this because he knew.
Yeah.
Alexander did not. You see that he's actually licking his chapped lips with his black tongue.
Yeah.
He's like anticipating, almost like he's anticipating the sparks that are gonna fly here.
Yeah.
What?
I assume Vierl also heard this because I talked.
Yeah, Vierl's just looking. He's like, wait. He's like, hold on, moment. What'd you say about Bahamut?
Wait,
what's all this about?
Alexander's just looking at Silvanna and saying, "Why didn't you tell me this?"
It was not for you to hear, Alexander. Only for her.
I don't care if it was just for her.
You should.
You should have told me this, Silvanna.
I look him in the eyes and says, that expression on your face is the exact reason why I don't want you to hear it. I turned down Bahamut's, offer before. I actually said he shouldn't be, offering this kind of big offer in order to help me free of the burden of the pact. However, I just want to know from you. For sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vorkhesis.
Vorkhesis.
Yeah,
I just
he
want
starts
to know from
scratching.
you. Yeah.
he starts scratching something into the floor.
If he dies, will he, as he promised, come back and not suffer from any sort of side effects?
He smiles, he says, that depends on you. You see, rather than have Mephistopheles go out and do something he doesn't want him to do, Bahamut is basically offering himself as the sacrifice for Mephistopheles' ascension. Whether Mephistopheles ascends or not to become a new god of justice, honor, and nobility, well, that's entirely on you, Silvanna.
I do look at that and I say, how could someone like Mephistopheles become a god of justice?
Yeah.
It does not seem quite just.
He says, Mephistopheles is lawful evil. He might be a monster, but he is committed to the law. That being said, he will have no concept of mercy, and the punishments he metes out will be harsh.
Oh, he'll be a cruel god.
He will be a cruel god of justice.
Cruel judge, yes.
Yeah.
Shit.
And honor, yes, you will keep your word under pain of torment.
Just
You will
Alexander.
keep your word.
Alexander just looks at Silvanna and says, we can't let that happen. We can't.
Mostly, I don't think Bahamut will ever return if we did that.
No,
It's not
he
even-
might,
it's-
actually.
He might.
Again, it depends on you.
I do look at Silvanna and I say, it's not a matter of if he returns or not. But if he, Mephistopheles, becomes the new god of justice, I can only foresee bloodshed. It would just be what I was all those years ago. Nothing more.
More.
He finishes.
Uh,
Yeah, Vorkhesis finishes scratching into his words into the floor.
Okay. I didn't pay much attention to what he's doing on the floor.
I'm a little worried that what he's writing on the floor
I'm
might
having a
have
conversation
dire
with Alex.
consequences.
Focus, Alex.
Would you like to read it?
Can I attempt to read what
Go
he's
ahead,
writing
go
on the
ahead.
floor?
He's finished. Yeah, he just wrote. It's almost like it's a short story.
Oh.
It's what he wrote is this. Once, Death asked Life, "Why do people love you but hate me?" Life responded, "Because I am a beautiful lie, and you are a painful truth."
Yeah. That's so good.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Okay.
Do
Do you have any more questions?
Yeah. No. I was still talking to you. Damn it.
all right.
Focus.
Sorry.
I slapped him on the cheek.
Focus.
Focus.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I caught him sneak peeking.
Yeah.
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 Um.
I was like, I wasn't gonna follow through because I know the risk of him doing so. And besides, you heard what Vorkhesis said. If I help kill, or even if Bahamut sacrificed himself, or help defend him, either way, it provides a window for Mephistopheles to ascend to godhood. Which means
Gives them an opportunity, yeah.
Yeah, which means... And I drain... I suck, more like... I just breathe in all the air and just let it fill my chest. And I just say... Which means I have to part way with you if that happens. So it will be the only way to make sure I didn't get involved.
Yeah. Alexander gets very quiet when she says that because that's essentially saying that if that were to happen, it would be the end of this friendship.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, Silvanna just turns around, couldn't bear another sight at Alex's face, and just turns around.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so well, certainly not the last question, but it just kind of bothers me. Why couldn't Victor's sisters tell that the vampire god is deceiving them? I mean, they could.
They saw only what they wanted to see.
Yeah.
But they could tell. They were servants of the Raven Queen. They could tell if something is, well, abnormal around them, especially with another.
When have you ever acted rationally in the throes of grief, Silvanna?
I do look at Silvanna when he says that.
Yeah.
I said, we have both have experience of not acting rationally, especially in Barovia with Isaac. So I cannot fault us, or at least fault them, for making that mistake. Not entirely.
Silvanna just sighs. And is like, I know. That is part of the reason I feel their pain. That is also part of the reason I resent them. Because we're so much alike.
Yeah. It's a black mirror.
Yeah.
He says, the worst enemies, the enemies you hate the most are the ones that remind you of yourself.
Yeah.
Now I have a question for you.
Shoot.
How do you view Robin Lakewood? Is she an annoyance? A younger sister you never had? A daughter or a niece? What is she? What is she to you?
Oh God, if Vierl was here.
Yeah,
Vierl is not. He
Yeah,
was
I know,
specifically in a
player
monotone of voice, so Vierl
Justin
couldn't hear
is
it.
Here.
Oh, Justin was here.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
Oh,
this
man.
would be
It would-
so,
that was
so
really
interesting.
Kind of.
Yeah, and as he
Silvanna's
does,
like-
as he asks you that, which he erases what he wrote on the floor again. But then as he asks you, he draws a circle there, and then the floor in the circle shimmers for a moment. You can see Robin bringing more Cornish game hens to feed to Fluffy the spider.
Yeah.
And you see that she's loading them up in a catapult, and in a little catapult, and she's launching them for Fluffy to chase.
I kind of laughed.
Do I see that?
Yeah,
No.
you see that. It's like it's
I
almost
look
like he's
at that
scrying
and
her.
I'm like, where did she even get the catapults?
I kind of laughed at the sight, and then I just said, "Yeah, she's all of the above. She's like sometimes she's a nuance. She just keeps on bugging you, and makes you kind of annoyed, but like in a good way, I guess. I don't know. The feeling is hard to describe, but most of the time she just.
It's a happy
yeah.
nuisance.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
nuisance.
She's a nuisance, but she's able to lift you up when you need it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. Exactly. All right.
And then he taps inside of the circle with the butt end of his spear, and it vanishes, and the vision vanishes.
Okay. All right. Well, now next part will be quite interesting. So, I recently learned the spell of True Polymorph, which, if I focus hard enough, I can turn into that creature permanently. Which
It's not.
also relieves the stuff. In player speaking, sorry. She's having a hard time to describe, but as a player, I would describe it for her. Like, it basically means all the stats will be replaced by the stats of the stuff I polymorphed into. Yeah, and that also means all the class feature, everything, it's just gone. So here's my question to the DM. Will it, also Silvanna, will it lift my pact with Mephistopheles if I do that?
He thinks for a moment, he says, quite the contrary. It will seal it.
How How so?
He says, you will not. He says he won't be able to end the pact with. He made the pact with Silvanna the Dusk Elf, not Silvanna the Dragon. And only Silvanna the Dusk Elf can end the pact, not Silvanna the Dragon.
Oh, so that would mean that you would literally never be able to end it.
Yeah.
Shit.
So that's a very bad idea, and you should not do that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes. He says, on the other hand, once you're free, you won't be able to use True Polymorph to accept the godhood. The spell's not that powerful.
I know. Alright.
Now, what question is he going to ask?
Like I told you, I have tons of questions.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that there's so many bizarre possibilities.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Alex.
this is no, this is fine. This is
Yeah.
this is a really interesting thing to have at the end. I think it's actually really, really fun.
Yeah, just take some time to sit back and look back on the campaign.
Yeah.
It says, How do you feel? Well, how did you feel? She's dead now. How did you feel about the Dusk Elf Petrina Velikovna?
Wait, she's dead?
Yeah.
God slew her.
No, we saved.
Yeah.
We
No,
saved-
you saved her, and then Strahd killed her
You said
immediately
you brought her
after.
back to life, sent her to take on Strahd, and then Strahd
I
killed
guess
her.
you know what, to be fair, did Alexander figure that out, or did Strahd ever say that to me or so?
Alex, I think, figured it out on his own.
I think I figured it out.
I
on my own.
don't think so.
What's his name? The guy, the Lich Exeter in the Amber Temple, he implied it,
Mhm.
but none of you were able to really actually figure it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out a while ago. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Well, Silvanna
So-
never did. She just
Never did,
assumed
yeah.
that they all made it out alive. It's like,
He says,
wait, what?
Strahd killed them to the last.
I turn towards Alex and says, "Here's your trustworthy ally."
Let's be fair, this was back in Barovia. This was a while back.
I had no confirmation that this had exactly happened, but I had a sneaking suspicion as a possibility. Like I said, I did not. I look at you, Silvana, and I say, I did not wish to tell you because of a reaction similar to
Oh,
this.
Kamra's a bitch. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
You're not
But I do say this to Silvana. I do say this to Silvana. If I had confirmed it, I would have told you. I
So-
promise you that.
So now that she's dead and you don't have to worry about her anymore, how did you feel about her?
Quite honestly, I don't want to hear anyone die. That's the most important part. But beyond that, she's part of the Dusk Elf. So that means they won't have anyone to carry on the torch. On the other hand, I don't know how I feel about a genocide. This is basically a genocide because it means the Dusk Elf ends here and now. That's it. If I don't procreate, it's like the end of it, and I certainly
just-
won't do that.
He says, it's not the end, don't worry.
Yeah, the reincarnation and everything, it just kind of mind warping. So yeah. All right. Here's probably my final question because I do want to. Silvana is kind of getting tired of
Yeah.
question-wise stuff and having to find out stuff like this. So. she's just
Yeah, I
kinda-
guess that's
yeah,
true.
it's
After
like,
hearing that, you're like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't ask more questions, or else there's going to be other dire things that I
yeah,
learned
maybe
today.
something more horrifying will come out.
I warned you. You wouldn't like what you hear.
Oh, I know. It's
I know.
great. I love it. I love it.
As a player, I totally dig it. So yeah, it's just
Yeah.
as a character.
Silvana
Yeah,
probably
she
wouldn't dig it for too
hates
long.
it, Yeah. She just has to ask a few questions. That's it.
Yeah.
And afterwards,
So is this the last? Is that the list? Sorry, is this the last one for you then?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
So be prepared. You're next.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I know.
I'm ready.
So Silvanna just kind of looks at Vorkhesis and just says, "So you mentioned that even if we ended the vampire god, Barovia is still a place that's, well, suffered the eternity in a reincarnation karma? Whatever that is."
No more. It used to, but ever since you freed it,
Huh.
ever since you freed it, it will no longer suffer. However, there are people in Barovia without souls. They were created when Strahd ruled. He needed subjects to satisfy his ego. So the land produced soulless humans to help him with that. Not many, but it did. About 9 in 10 of Barovians nowadays don't have souls, but as time goes on, the soulless will die and be replaced by people with souls.
Okay, so that means at least we don't have to worry about Barovia.
That is one thing. This is good.
So
Yes,
they
I
won't
agree.
return to haunt us.
Well, they will find peace one way or another.
One way or another. Alright, well, that wasn't sort of the question because it's already answered, but alright. You know what? I'll just leave it like that. Yeah, just give the spot to Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, step down.
Okay, I need to get some things to look at very quickly. 1 second. Okay. I look at him and I say, we seem to be touched by fate, caught in its web, desperately trying to escape it.
Yeah, that's an apt way of putting it.
We will continue on our own path, and we will continue to find longing and purpose and the glimmers of this life. I walk up to him and I whisper my question.
What? Alright.
Alright, yeah. So you're typing it now, or?
Well, you know what it is. It's the one I
Ah.
sent you.
Can I roll
Yeah.
for a perception check to see what they're talking about?
Make a perception check. Go ahead.
Come on. Yes, 26.
Nice. Alright, you hear every
I'll say it then.
Yeah,
Say
As I
it.
I
whisper.
heard every word.
I know that she is a queen of fate. And you've told me that there is a path that I could take that could bring her back. To bring both of them back. If I were to offer my soul, my life to her as an exchange, could she bring them back?
He says.
Your math is a little bit off, Alex.
I'm aware of that. It's more the act than anything.
I
Yeah, he
know.
says. Vorkhesis replies, she could do that, as could Bahamut.
Yeah.
But it's not their places to bring them back.
Oh,
It's yours.
what? Oh, ask your mom. She's
Not her
goddess.
place. It's not Iona's place either. It's Alexander's
It's
place.
Alexander's
Oh.
place.
Only he can do it.
Okay.
Okay,
Still.
I'll take that.
I look at him. And I take that ominous answer, and
Yeah.
I say, I guess we'll have to find out. I can.
Yes, indeed.
And that's my final question.
Yeah, but Alex, seriously, you need to work on your math. I mean, you know, one.
It
does
was
not
more
equal
the
two.
principle, Savannah. I am very much aware that 1 does not equal 2.
Yeah.
I am not that bad at math.
Yeah, Vorkhesis is going to say, I am kind of tempted to ask if Savannah ever keeps shut.
Yeah.
Very tempted.
Oh,
Not
no.
ever.
Nothing in this world could stop that woman from speaking her mind.
But we're not in the world. We're in the
No,
shadow.
let me correct you, my
Let me
friend.
rephrase
Nothing
that.
across this plane of the several planes of
Of
existence in the multiverse could stop that woman from speaking her mind.
He says, all right. Now, I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Why did you accept the Were-Raven curse?
Ooh.
Was it
Shit,
simply
that's a
that you
hard
straw?
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it? If you need some time to think, Alex, I can answer.
Well,
first.
you could give your answer first, I
Okay.
guess. And
Yeah, give your answer.
I look towards Vorkhesis and just says, I was at first kind of admiring how Crowley did such a feat. You guys all remember Crowley?
yeah, I remember
doing-
Crowley. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he managed to hold on to the line and help defend people in Barovia, and it is because the possibility he showed me kind of gently nudged me into taking the curse. I
Says,
just
you-
want to be as
you
brave
might-
as them before.
he says, then you're brave because you are immune to non-silver weapons. You're immune to non-magical
No,
weapons
it's
that
more
aren't silvered.
No, it's more like before. Well, I wasn't such a really well practiced caster. I didn't really know what I walk into. It is good. Don't get me wrong, but I was drawn to their kind of like just how far they can achieve by their person, not because of the curse.
Says,
I know it's a little bit confusing, but it's more like,
he says,
go ahead.
that's something you have yet to achieve. They achieved it. They knew that bad things would happen to them. They knew that they could be fated to die. They knew that they weren't heroes, but they went in and they did it anyway.
Yes.
You instead rail against fate. You don't accept the fact that fate may have decreed that you're going to die and still do it anyway. You instead seek ways to escape fate.
I view that
Until you learned
differently.
that you can.
I
Until you
view
learn
that
that you can
differently.
accept.
Sorry.
Yes,
But
yes,
I have to cut you off. Sorry. This part, Silvanna is speaking up her mind at this moment.
Yeah.
Silvanna just says, and she cuts him off abruptly. Just says,
Yeah.
no, I view it differently. It is their inspiration that further fueled my determination in order to stand up against fate. They knew they were gonna die, and they still do it anyway. I knew fate would likely take me just like that, with a snap of hand. But because of their first act, I am able to face that with a smile. Even though I probably couldn't go against fate toe to toe, against you toe to toe.
He says, well then, I suppose you should be thankful my sister hasn't visited you.
Who's your sister,
Yeah,
by
it's
the
just-
way?
He says, my sister is never seen by anyone, but none but the most vile. She represents life.
Represents life. I turn
As
towards
in-
Alex.
If you see her, then you will know that you are condemned to a fate worse than death, and that death will not be alone to free you from it.
Question to the DM: was that one of the gods that? No, that was two separate gods. I'm thinking about there was that one dream I had on Battle Barovia, and there were like the two gods over the battlefield that were kind of walking.
Oh yeah, no, that Morning Lord and Mother Night.
That was I
Mother
figured.
Night and Raven Queen are one and the same, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
Yeah,
one
gotcha.
and the same. No, he's talking about he's talking about one of the Raven Queen's daughters, his
Out of-
sister.
Out of characterly speaking, is that something you homebrewed?
Kind of. The poem that I linked in the last recap, the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner had that. I'm basically pillaging from that. In one scene, the mariner and his crew see this woman and Death playing dice. The Death wins the souls of the crew, but the woman wins the soul of the mariner, and he's condemned to a fate worse than death.
Okay.
So that's basically his sister. That she makes. If you see her, then you know you're condemned to a fate worse than death, and there's nothing you can do to stop that.
Okay.
Maybe I'm young. Maybe I don't know things. But I think if I succumb myself to not fighting, to walk peacefully, yeah, sure, I can probably die a peaceful death. But there will be no one to take on the challenges. There will be no one to stand up against. Well, I kind of wink at him and smile against fate. Yes, even though that person needs to suffer a fate worse than death, but it's just something. What makes us mortal sparks.
Yeah.
You, Alex. It's your turn now.
Okay.
So, what question do you have?
No.
Well, I mean, like, no, I had to answer. He wanted me to answer. I mean, this is basically the final question to him. Sorry, the answer to him, because I think we're done answering. We're done with questions. But basically, my answer to this is simply, when I took the curse, I did it for many reasons. I think a small part of it was curiosity. I had grown curious of the crows and the rare ravens of Barovia. But another part of me, back then anyway, knew that it was an opportunity to grow stronger so that I could protect more people. And I saw that as a necessary sacrifice to do. And that is why I took the curse into me, so that I could better protect my fellow man.
You nonsense. So, what would you like to ask of me?
I guess we're done here.
Well, I guess, where's the door?
You hear him say over his shoulder, "Ask about the phylactery."
Oh yeah,
but we already know the name of the lich. We can get
we should know where the phylactery is. That's still important.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I do ask.
Where
do you know
location of the?
Where is the exact location of? Wait for it. Skullzan's phylactery.
Nice.
I wouldn't have tried to trick you if you hadn't been specific. I would have known what you were referring to.
I've been keeping track.
Yeah.
It's still a wise precaution. What he does is, though, he actually hoists his spear, so he's gripping it by the middle, and he points it at Kyra.
What?
And he gets this big shit-eating grin on his face when he sees your befuddled expressions.
Okay.
What?
What's inside her?
He says, "She is the phylactery."
Fuck!
You can behead her if you like, Alexander, but I assure you, within 24 hours, she will simply stand back up. You can even destroy her body until nothing remains but dust, and then scatter the dust to the far corners of the world, one grain at a time. And within 24 hours, she will reform somewhere else.
So I start to view Kyra's expression. Does she?
Kyra still has
Does
her mask
Kyra
on.
know? Does Kyra know this, or is this new to her?
Can we
Yeah, she's
insight?
make an insight check with disadvantage because you cannot see her face.
Freaking mask. Bullshit.
Disadvantage.
Yes. Plus, she's not really giving any kind of indication with her body language.
18.
Silvanna, you believe that Kyra is horrified to learn this.
Oh. Okay. Alex probably is feeling the mix.
Alex is feeling really mixed emotions about that information.
He just not. Vorkhesis just says, "Yes, as long as she lives, Skullzan can never truly die."
How do we put an end to the phylactery and her connection?
He says, I don't know about destroying her permanently, but I do know how to suppress his resurrection.
How would we do that?
Says, you kill her and you bury her, and as a burial gift, you give her the gilded death card from Madame Eva's sacred Taroka deck. Not the one Silvanna burned, but the one that Madame Eva keeps hidden from all others. A gift, a personal gift from Mother Night herself. Take the death card and bury it with Kyra's body. And Skulzan will never return so long as that card remains with her. But should the card be removed, Skulzan will return, and the cycle will begin anew.
Hold on. I think we missed something here. So, I'm pretty sure phylacteries doesn't really function where they're in an anti-magic field. We
It
just
says,
simply put her into
no,
a-
they do function inside of an anti-magic field. They do.
They do? Okay.
The magic that they employ is far stronger than an anti-magic field.
Yeah, I
It's
figured.
artifact level magic.
Yeah. It's kind of like why Autoviator works even with anti-magic. Okay. So just to clarify, this is out of character. So essentially, if we were to kill Kyra
I don't want to
and
kill
bury
her.
her, I know. I'm just saying what he is trying to tell us.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Kill Kyra, bury her with the death card. Then that would nullify the resurrection part of Skulzan.
Yeah.
And is he saying that if we brought her back to life afterward, would that nullify this effect?
No.
Or?
No, you kill her, and then you bury her with the card. While Skulzan is dead, obviously.
Okay.
If you kill him while he's dead, his soul will go into the phylactery, but it will not be able to come out. Both of them will basically lie there until, for Kyra, it'll just be like a long unconsciousness
Right.
until the death card is removed. When the death card is removed, if the requisite amount of time has passed, that is at most 10 days, Skulzan will instantly return to life, and then Kyra will return 24 hours after that.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, what is the step process into killing him permanently, though? That's the thing, though.
Vorkhesis does not know the answer to that
He
question.
does not. Okay,
Wait,
so it's
hold
big.
Hold on.
He knows a lot of answers, but there are, like he said, there's, like he implied with the Silvanna's family, Silvanna's
Yeah.
biological parents, there are some things that are beyond even his knowledge.
Yeah.
I have, as a player, I have some thoughts, but as a character, I would like to employ Arcana check. Please work this time. No, I don't know. I don't know.
No.
You know what? I'll make an Arcana check for funsies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. My -1.
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
You,
We both know shit.
yeah, you have really no choice but to take this guy at his word.
Yeah.
Alright, I look at Kyra and just says, I wonder if true polymorph works. Just wondering. Alright.
It won't.
It won't. Yeah.
Yeah, figures. Alright,
Well, we do at least have a somewhat answer. I'm just curious as to how. Actually, you know what? Let's ask him one more question. My question is, and I'm going to look at him. It's like, how did she even become his phylactery?
Says they took the original phylactery, and then she and the vampire god and the Quam performed a dark ritual to transfer the phylactery's essence into her. He leans his spear against one of the statues, and then reaches into the sleeve of the arm that is missing the hand. And he pulls out what looks like a monocle, and he hands it to you.
I grab it.
Yeah, says, look at her through that.
Okay,
I take the monocle and bring it to my eye.
go ahead.
And when you see her, you see what look like almost like she's divided in half. You see like a glowing figure inside of a blue outline. It's divided in half. One half is white. The other half is almost a purpley red color, almost like a bad bruise. But you also see that like around her body, there's like lines and lines and lines of writing.
Ooh.
Of silver writing.
Ooh.
Are they in any particular language?
Yeah.
You think they might be in like some dark language like Infernal or Abyssal. You don't know which.
No.
I
Alex,
can I
what does he say?
I
can read all writings.
I attempt to pull out a piece of paper and copy what I'm seeing.
No,
Go right
dude,
ahead.
I can read all
What
writings.
do I need to roll it or
No.
no? Okay.
No,
so
you won't. You'll only be able to write what you can see, though. The writing does bend around, and it's partly concealed.
I try my best to kind of just scratch it down on a piece of paper, because I know that Silvanna can read this.
All right, yeah. So you scratch it down. You do scratch what you can see down. It takes a couple minutes. Everyone's Kairo's like looking at you kind of curiously, like, "What are you writing?" And Silvanna, when you read it, you're reading like these are some very dark. It's like a very long spell. Dark words of binding and devouring. It's a spell that basically devours souls and feeds them to whoever created the phylactery to sustain their existence.
I shared that information to Alex, and then, Yeah.
Interestingly, though, Alice, the one place that she doesn't have the writing, and the one place that the glowing figures aren't, is in her mechanical hand.
I have a possible thought, but I don't know if it would work.
Let's do it.
You know what? Since we're questions and answers, and this is the best time for me to ask these so that we could plan this. This might be a shot in the dark, but this effect is not surrounding the mechanical part of her hand.
That's because it's not a part of her. If she's not her original hand, you'd see it.
All right. Well, my plan probably wouldn't work then.
No,
because
my plan probably would.
Well, my plan is that I was thinking if there was any possible way to transfer her soul to a mechanized body, we could separate that part of the phylactery and keep her alive, and then kill her human body, or her material bodies.
It's just that would not work, unfortunately. Part of what Skulzan did was merge his soul with hers.
Yeah, so
that's why. That is not magic, you know, Silvanna.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just curious, is that okay? I ask him this then. Would there be an answer to this riddle? Perhaps at the Black Academy.
Bleak Academy. He thinks he says. Yes, I believe there might be.
I know. Yeah, I knew. Because it was leading up to this. I could feel it.
Yeah.
Actually, that was not something I planned for.
To go to the Bleak Academy.
Sorry, what did you say, Falcon? What did you say?
So that was actually not something I planned for. I thought you guys were going to go start kicking Madame Eva's elderly ass.
Yeah. Honestly, because part of me is like, even with the card, it's not a...
No, the cards. Deck of many things. I turn towards Alex and says, is there anything in that deck that might get us out of this predicament?
There might, but there's a risk.
Well,
Skulzan thinks for a moment. He says, "That's actually true. It might. If you were to draw the dungeon card, for example, or the void card, if Cairo were to draw the void card, it would send both of their souls into a dark neverland where they could never return from. Until they were found, of course."
Now I'm thinking, anything that could separate the souls.
Well, here's the thing, Silvanna. The void card would do that because you have to understand it would technically separate both of them.
Oh.
Yeah, their souls aren't linked. Their souls are one. the void card would yank that out of their body.
Would yank it out.
Take somewhere else.
That is a possibility, but it also risks in which she could potentially have a lot of other things happen to her. And look, I know that we don't want to go back there, but there might be a safer answer for us at the Bleak Academy, and I know for a fact I would not want to bring Vierl back there.
Oh, no.
But
I just thought of another possible way. You know how much I hate the sisters. You know how much I hate them.
I'm very much aware.
But
Alexander knows this.
But they do possess wish spells.
This is true.
Says the Academy has schools of wish.
I know, but the Academy is even worse. I mean,
It's like, I don't want to go to this scary academy. I want to just go talk to some bird girls and just
He then
pick it up.
starts scratching something into the floor again. He says, on the other hand, if you were to enter the Academy and successfully steal their scrolls, you could have more wish than one.
That
I have
is
to word it
true.
very carefully. Well, the universe is urging us to go to the Academy, so I don't see
The
any
universe
other
isn't
reason why
urging
not.
us, but honestly, I knew. Well, okay, here's the thing, Silvanna.
If you want to go to the Academy, you can go to the Academy. If you want to go to the Draven Sisters, you can go to the Draven Sisters. If you want to if you want to draw cards from the deck of many things and hope you get the Moon card, then you can draw from the deck of many things and hope you get the Moon card.
The only reason why I, out of character, want to go to the Bleak Academy is I'm worried that if we keep Sophia alive for the final encounter, she's gonna come in and do something fucking bad. And I'm a little bit worried about that, so I kind of want to deal with her before we go kill a god. So that's the main reason why I want to go and try and deal with her. And the second reason is that all of Vierl's stuff is in the Bleak Academy. So Vierl isn't at his full potential at the moment, so we really need to be at our full potential for that final fight. So that's the main reason why I want to go to the Bleak Academy. It doesn't necessarily mean that we need to use what's at the Bleak Academy necessarily, but it gives us more options.
I know, but I kind of want to remove have the Draven Sisters perform the wish first, so if they succeed in separating the souls, we might get our shot in, not getting ambushed by Skullzan when we attack the Bleak Academy.
I guess that's...
You have 9 days before he comes back, don't worry.
Alright, fine, let's go to the Bleak Academy.
All right, you know what? That's a fair point. So I think
that's a fair
just for plan's sake, we go to see the Draven Sisters. I do the talking.
Yeah, I won't. You know what?
I do
the facility.
That's a smart idea.
Yeah,
because you tried to finger of death one of them last time we met.
This time I might try to true polymorph them into a goat, but
Yeah,
I won't
go.
do that.
They'll find that funny because they're a comedic group of girls.
They will definitely try to kill you if you do that.
So we'll go try and get to the Draven Sisters. And if that doesn't work, we go to the Bleak Academy. But I still think that if it does work great, I still think we need to go to the Bleak Academy. Even though I don't want to, I think we still need to, just to make sure that thread doesn't come to bite us in the ass later on.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so that's
if you'd like to speak with them, it says if you'd like to speak with them, I can facilitate that.
Oh,
because
the Draven.
Vierl does not look like he's done talking to his parents.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair. Okay.
All right.
Let's talk to the Draven Sisters then.
I mean, I will talk to the Draven.
Yeah. I will turn myself into a gold dragon. Adult gold dragon again.
Just chilling in the background.
Just chilling in the background.
Yeah.
It's feeling awesome.
You do that. Do that before Vorkhesis does anything. He just kind of reaches up. He just taps you once with his spear, and he shrinks you down to a less room crowding size.
Yep. Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So now you're actually about the size of a really big dog right now.
It's fine. I'm just feeling awesome about myself. Yay.
All right, that's quite the disguise. I think will work fantastically.
All right. Then he walks over. He draws a circle, another circle on the floor, and then taps the center of it with the butt of his spear. And he goes back to writing on the ground.
So they're in the circle, or
You look in there. You see Erwin is there. She's kneeling. She appears to be kneeling like she's in prayer. She's still inside of She's inside of. You recognize as the chapel of the Frost Coat. Well, looks like it must be a chapel of the Frost Coated Draven Castle. Then she looks up at you and says, "Alexander."
how's it been?
Says, It's been a trip. Let's just say. Ever since you left, the dead have been relentless.
They have. We are looking into it. That's all I can say for now.
Says, I can tell. You're with Vorkhesis, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we made that pilgrimage ourselves some time ago.
We've gotten some interesting information, and I have something that I must ask of you, if you can.
Ask away.
We have a body, a person that we care about, whose soul is linked with another. Now, I know that you have powerful magic. You wished us into your presence. Do you think that with this power, you could separate the two?
She thinks for a moment. She says, perhaps. But it also might. But such a wish may be the kind of wish that burns out the part of me that lets me cast wish.
Yeah, I figured.
Wish always carries that risk. I do know of another way. It's longer, probably much more painful, but it may work.
What is it?
A kind of an exorcism rite practiced by high priests and high priestesses of the Raven Queen. It's used to exorcise powerful evil spirits from creatures. I don't know if it will help you, but that's all I have.
I think that might be what we need to do.
Just, well, then what can I expect you?
I'm not quite sure. I kind of laugh, because I'm assuming that is Audie recharged enough to...
Not yet.
Not yet, so we're going to have to wait, like, how many days?
At least 2.
At least 2. We'll probably be arriving in several days. Our compatriot Vierl, as you know, has the ability to travel far.
Yep. She's just not just, we'll be waiting for you.
Okay. Thank you, Erwin.
Yeah. She says, no, it's my pleasure. And then the vision vanishes.
Okay, so I look to Gold Dragon Silvanna.
Yay! Dog-sized gold dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, dog-sized. Yeah, I was tempted to make it kitten-sized, but...
Yeah, kitten-sized
Dog
would be
size.
better. Please let it be kitten-sized.
Well,
would
if you
beg
want,
of
you just have to ask him.
Oh no, I don't need to. I use change shape, the dragon ability, to change myself into a cat.
Alright.
There you
turn
saw.
into a little kitten.
Yeah, turn
Into a little
kitten.
black-haired kitten
Yep.
with bright green eyes.
Yep.
I knew that things were going to get ridiculous when you learned such a spell, but always subverting my expectations.
Yeah.
As I just look at Cat Silvanna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just yawn, do a cat pose.
Stretch.
Yeah, just scratch. Yeah.
You do like the cat stretch.
Yeah. Like scratch. That's it.
So I just look at Silvanna and I say, Erwin said that we have a possible way of exorcising the Lich from Kyra. It is a possibility, and they say that they can do it. It will cause her a lot of pain, but it might work.
Kyra just says, I'm ready.
I give her a very...
Or I carry a much heavier burden than mere physical pain.
Okay.
I scratch the ground and I lift a nail up, like in a thumbs up gesture.
Yeah.
Meow. That's
Yeah,
it.
meanwhile, Vorkhesis finishes scratching his latest scribbling on the ground, and then he
Nice.
goes over to check on Vierl.
Oh, is he still wrapped?
Well, yeah, he has a lot to say to his parents. This is something that he's been building up to for his entire journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
change back into the dragon, and then change into a raven, and then fly. Yeah, just swapping forms right now, and fly up to Viral's shoulder.
Alright.
Ah!
If Vierl's just like, may I please have some privacy, Silvanna? I do the same for you and your family.
I fly away. Fly
Thank
onto Alex's shoulder, like what?
Yeah, I was going to say that you need to give him some privacy, but I'm glad that you're here with me, Silvana.
Ah!
And I just kind of, yeah, I pat her on the head. You little troublemaker. And I do say, let's just give Vierl some time alone, and once he's done, we can begin our preparations for the journey ahead. Okay?
I nod. Ah!
I smile a little bit and I say, good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and lead Silvana and Kyra out for a moment so that Vierl can have some proper privacy.
Yeah. Well, mostly to the other side of the room. When you try to leave, Vorkhesis lets you know that if you leave, you'd have to undergo the trial again inside of the cathedral again in order to reach him.
Yeah, I know.
On the other hand, even though the room is cold, it's not life-threateningly so. So you can spend, as long as you have the resources, you can spend as much time here as you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
we'll go to the other side of the room, Dan. Can I look at him and can I say, I know this is a bizarre question, but could we perhaps set up camp here?
He's just go right ahead. You see that he just goes back to his throne, sits down on it, lays the spear across his lap, and it assumes almost like a meditative expression or pose.
Okay, so I'm just setting up camp then,
Yeah.
trying to make sure that everyone's
Yeah.
has a place to rest.
Yeah.
Cots are all being made. I'm setting up the tents.
Get bags.
I'm trying to ration out the rations that I got.
After as you set up your camp, you notice that that Vorkhesis just simply he just makes like this little twitch with his index finger, and then a blue fire appears in the middle of your campsite that actually gives off some heat.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank you.
yeah, he's not really going to leave you guys out in the lurch like that.
Well, I change back into my original form and just sit by the fireplace, cooking some rations, just making sure it's and just eat.
All right.
How long?
Yeah.
For Vierl though.
Vierl is going to take some time.
Okay.
Vierl will take some time. What Vorkhesis is going to do, he's going to say, Alexander,
Yes.
on the subject of people talking to the souls of the dead, I also have Flynn's soul here.
Mhm.
If you'd like to gloat or speak to him. If you don't want to, that's fine.
Flynn would probably be more than happy to use that to his advantage, even in his current state. And I do not wish to gloat. I simply wish to move on from that part of my life.
Yeah.
He says, fair enough.
But I understand what you were offering.
Yeah, he just nods. Kyra's going to say, who's Flynn?
Sorry? Can you say that
Kyra's
again?
just going to ask, who's Flynn? Because she was not there for Flynn.
Oh yeah,
Never met him.
Flynn was the leader of the Ebon Hearts, and let's just say we've had conflict, me and him, and it has led to one of the most troubling and horrible moments of my life.
She just nods and says, I understand.
But I'm past that now, and I'm finding my way.
He says, I'm glad. I hope I can find my way like you. And she says that she just looks down at her mechanical hand.
I just look at her and I say,
years ago, I was so focused on vengeance and being a sword of justice that it blinded me from the ideas of redemption. And I've come to see that I can't look away from that. And I do believe, and that's what I see in you, Kara. I do see redemption. And I do hope that, I don't mean to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I do hope that one day that you won't have to hide that mask.
She says, it's not an easy road to walk.
I know. But it's a road that we walk nonetheless.
All right, finally, Vierl finishes up, and then he, after spending a long time saying goodbye, he comes over. You see that he's crying a little, like he's got tears running down his face, but he seems to be a little bit at peace with himself.
So he's not as twitchy as before?
He's still kind of twitchy, but he seems a little calmer now.
Which is good.
He's finally got a little closure in his life now.
I do look at him and I say, yeah, I was about to say, actually, were you able to find the closure that you needed?
He says, I don't know. But I do know that even in death, my parents are proud of me. I guess that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, I walk up to him.
Good. That is.
Yeah.
We're all very proud of you, Vierl. Vierl Lakewood.
Yeah, he
And
just
I give him a hug.
he just gets like this awkward look on his face, and then he just immediately grabs some ashes and just doesn't look at you as he starts to devour them.
Yep.
That's Alexander in a nutshell. The
Yep.
situation's awkward.
All right.
Hey.
All right, now let's roll. Okay. 2 days later, Vierl is recharged.
Alright, let's do
Alright.
the stuff. We'll reset up.
Yeah, let's go see the sisters.
Yeah.
All right. You plane shift, and you find yourselves in the massive antechamber of Draven Castle.
Oh, nice.
This is not a place that you thought you'd end up again, but circumstances have forced you here.
Yeah. Place still looks relatively the same.
Yeah, it's still covered in ice.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I just kind of take my little cloak and just
But
kind of.
it's
Come
one
on.
thing you notice, it's not as bitterly cold as you remember when you guys came in here.
Oh.
And
okay.
then that probably just means that you're welcome. You're not
That's-
enemies anymore.
We're not enemies anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
I polymorph myself. I true polymorph myself into a silver dragon.
Yeah. And you just even as an adult silver dragon, this place is cavernous. Like you could probably fly right up to the 3rd level of the castle. That's how big this.
That is.
I look at Silvanna. Yeah, because I look at Silvanna.
and do that.
All right, you fly up to the 3rd level of the castle. And as you do, and when you reach the 3rd level, you see it's at the end. It's also covered in ice, but you also see that there's a statue of a person there. Well, you usually think it's a person. It might, or a statue. It might have been like an intruder that was blasted with ice and frozen in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see. It probably is that because the way the icicles on them they form sideways.
Oh. Can I tell who's inside? Can I tell if I know that?
Make a nature check.
Okay. Nature. Oh, never really used that. This is about the first time we used nature in our campaign.
Well, we
Way!
don't use it that often, but
Yeah, you deal with supernatural enemies. You don't really need nature.
Yeah.
What are you
That's
trying to
pretty
tell about this?
Who's the person inside? Do I notice him?
No, you don't know them. It looks looks like a
guy.
Maybe a human male, maybe.
Okay.
You don't know who.
And he's certainly dead, right?
Yeah, he is very clearly dead.
I breathe in and then spreads out a little bit of cold breath to strengthen the ice. Just make another statue.
Because it sounds like it's like, oh, I want to freeze him more. Let's freeze the dead body. Let's kick the dead body.
In the nuts.
Jesus.
All right, yeah. So you freeze it again. When you do, you hear Erwin from behind you say, "No, he's quite dead."
I know. Oh
yes,
Rob,
my
the voice.
dragon, the dragon friend. He has a cold. We found him actually traveling in the Shadowfell.
She says, "That's Silvanna Undershine."
No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't know that.
You're a terrible liar, Alex.
Of course I am. I'm a paladin.
Yeah, and she says, "I can sense the magic around her."
Yeah.
She's finally learned true polymorph.
Yes, she has, and she has been having fun with it for the last little while.
Just turn it into an Airbus. No big deal.
I look at her and I say, I understand. I know that she is not welcome.
No,
I simply need to.
the people. I just drop Alex and gently let them down, not drop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then I
she
just
says-
fly off into the distance. Just like,
No, there's no distance. You're still inside.
yeah, I just fly down.
If you were to fly off into the distance, you would have to smash through the stained glass window.
Oh, frack. Then I fly downstairs the way I came from.
Yeah, you fly back downstairs.
Yeah. I'll leave the rest to you guys.
Yep. Everyone just looks down after and says, there are more useful forms than a dragon.
I mean, a dragon is a dragon. I'm just saying.
He says, but a beholder has an anti-magic gun. At any rate, well, what is that? You're ready for us to perform the ritual then?
Yes, this is... And I introduce Kyra. This is Kyra.
Kyra does like a little bow, and Erwin does a little curtsy with her nun's robes. They exchange a quick, quiet conversation. From what little you can hear, you believe that Kyra is bringing Erwin up to date on what happened to her.
Mm-hmm. Any information that can be useful to them, I guess.
Yeah. And Erwin is just stroking her chin, thoughtfully thinking. She's going to say, you understand that if we end this, it will not stop you from being a phylactery.
Because it will... So my question is that if that...
It will make you mortal again.
That is...
Because my question is that if we say...
contradicted, right? Because...
Well, no, because the whole point was that we wanted to get the souls to unlink so that it would be possible to kill the Skullzan.
Yeah, it would be possible. No, it will become possible to kill Kyra as long as she's alive. Skullzan will live, but if the souls are separated, Kyra becomes mortal again. She will not come back to life if you were to kill her and then say dump her body in the lake.
Wait, but if we separate the soul already, why do we need to kill her? If we separate...
Because she'll still be a phylactery.
Oh, okay.
Merging the souls is a way to make sure that the Skullzan's phylactery is not destroyed.
So what we need to do realistically...
On the other hand, Erwin will inform you that if you killed her, it would end the phylactery condition on her, send Skullzan's soul off to whatever horrible afterlife he's condemned to. You could just revivify her.
Yeah.
And if they have soul cage spells, you can just trap Skullzan's soul inside.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. That makes sense, and that's what I was thinking we need to do. But I am so afraid.
Skullzan is not... let me check. Yeah, Erwin can use soul cage. However, Skullzan is an undead, not a humanoid.
Yeah, but the Draven Sisters are not normal clerics. They are...
That's the most tilt thing I've ever heard. I'm lifting, the table is like 94 degrees.
No, it's 99 degrees. It's like just
But they're
warm.
super special, right?
They're not that special.
I was gonna say, you know what? As much as my fear of this, like, not of this possibly going bad, it's still the best shot we got.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna say, if this is possible, then I will do it. Be the one.
All right.
Okay, so let's get. If I can assist in the exorcism in any way, Alexander.
No, it
Probably not.
requires them, not you.
Okay. I will leave it to you.
All right. Yeah, they will take her. Kyra's basically lying down on top of a table, and the three sisters are standing around there, basically standing like this triangle. They're holding their hands up so their fingertips touch, and you can hear them.
You know, like real exorcism.
Just in.
Yeah, just.
Well,
like,
I mean, they've done it. They know what they're doing.
That's
but
a 500 pound. First, that's a 500-pound stone table. If that goes up, then I could just flip over and jump it on top of Kyra.
Oh, so they placed the 500-pound table on top of her.
No.
I thought it was like.
No.
What happens is she's on top of the table. She's on top of the 500-pound stone table. If whatever is inside of her decides to telekinetically levitate the table, flip it over, and then drop it down, Kyra will not fall off. She will be trapped underneath.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, because they can do that. Yeah. Okay. Is there any way that Alexander can just be in the room but not participating, but there just in case something happens?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the ritual, it goes well. And it lasts for it's going to last for 6 hours.
I'll stay all 6 hours.
All right, yeah. You actually doze off a little because it starts to become night outside.
Mhm.
So you actually goes off a little, but at the very end, you awaken when Kyra just lets out this piercing scream, loud enough to shatter every window in the castle.
Okay.
All right. But the sisters don't even really seem that perturbed by it. They're continuing regardless. And you can't hear the words they're muttering over the scream. And then when the scream finally just lets itself out, Kyra slumps back onto the table and appears to have passed out. And then you see the sisters just slump forward and grab the table for support as well.
I rush over. Are you guys all right?
Yeah, everyone's just nods. She just waves you off. Says, "It takes a lot out of you."
Do I look like they're physically wounded? Could I attempt to?
No, they're not. It's not that they're wounded. It's more like they have levels of exhaustion.
Levels of exhaustion. That's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be all right, you think, with a good night's rest.
Okay.
And then she says, "Leave Kyra to your cap." And then they shuffle off.
Okay. So my question is that do I do this while she's sleeping?
That's a good question.
Stab someone while they're asleep, which is really cool.
Alexander, this is probably, it would be better for me to do it while she's asleep than to do it.
Yeah, Erwin is going to look at you and say that it would be quicker for you to just simply decapitate her.
I could not do that. No.
And if you do decapitate her,
Yeah.
then Erwin will use her magic to reattach the head so you can revivify it. It can be done well under the minute requirement for revivify.
But for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
Alexander is not decapitating anyone.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Head
Alright.
her, butcher.
Yep.
Everything.
That's true.
Nope.
All right, and then Erwin will shuffle off. Meanwhile, Silvanna, your true polymorph spell has ended.
I know.
And wandering around the castle, you actually found that the Dravens have a very extensive library.
Okay. I just.
So you've been basically until the scream happened, you were sitting there just comfortably in front of the fireplace that you lit up. You're
I'm
just comfortably reading the various books
Yeah.
that are found there.
I'm searching for liches and story of ascending to godhood. Any sort of stories.
You
I know
didn't
lich
find.
is one of the attempt trying to become immortal. So
Yeah, you didn't find anything about godhood, but as far as liches go, you found a book titled Van Richten's Guide to Monsters.
couldn't escape you anywhere, old buddy, and just started.
Yeah.
It's like,
All
no,
right.
no, you can't.
Yeah, no. You heard
What did he
the
say?
shattering. Yeah, you heard the ear-shattering scream from Kyra, and you're like, must have succeeded.
Yep.
What's this?
Yeah. I know I have faith in Alex, so I don't really.
Meanwhile, Vierl is practicing climbing.
on an icy wall. Good luck with that.
You come out of your chair and say, "Hey, Vierl, where did Vierl go?" And then you see like these holes, series of holes in the wall, and you realize he's using daggers to like pull himself up up the wall.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know, that's sort of cheating. You need to use your fingers.
It says, "Go back to your reading, Silvanna. I'm practicing here." It's just, and by the way, cheating would be taking the stairs.
Yeah, gee, that would be taking the stairs.
Yeah. Good thing I don't need both. I can fly.
Or flying.
Yeah.
Oh, look
No,
at that
no, I
shade.
just said that before he says it. I said, good. It's a good thing I don't need both because I can fly. Suck it.
You're just flying around taunting him now.
Yeah, right now I'm just doing that. Just like,
Uh,
well, I'm still reading, but, well.
You're reading for Joseph, making fun of him.
Yeah, just shouting.
Yeah, every so often though, Silvanna, every so often a suit of armor will come trundling in. It looks like an animated armor, but when it comes in, you notice that it has like this blue light glowing inside of it, which animated armor does not have.
Can I try to identify it?
Yeah, make an Arcana check.
Okay.
cool.
Can I try the identify spell?
Yeah, you can do that. Sure.
Okay, I'll use the identify spell. Shit.
All right. With that spell, you learn that it is a helmed horror
Oh.
bound to Erwin Draven. You also know that the spells it is immune to are Hex, Fireball, and not True Polymorph because you didn't have it at the time, but Finger of Death.
It's just the fucking like
Yeah, I know.
anti-Savannah.
Yeah, it was built to these helmed horrors. You also with the Identify spell, you know that it had other spells in the past, but Erwin had reprogrammed it specifically to fight you.
Oh shit! So we
Yeah,
had that
yeah.
fight, and that when it gets you, you would have been fucked.
Yeah. Well, I don't need to. I just let you guys do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The horror just like kind of examines you for a minute, which gives you plenty of time to cast the ritual,
Yeah.
and then it turns and just tromps out again.
Hey. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah, when you look outside, you do see that a couple of them are also keeping an eye on Vierl.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
okay.
in case.
Just in case he.
So yeah,
More
so
like just
I'm
in case he
assuming-
try to take something he shouldn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
gotcha.
okay.
I gotcha.
This is
so I'm
basically a
assuming
security
I'm-
system for the castle.
I'm assuming I'm still in the room with Kyra.
Yeah, you're still in the room with Kyra. You've got a choice to make.
Yeah. I just say, I'll try and make it quick. And I try and I go for the heart, if possible.
Make an attack roll with advantage.
It'll be hilarious if he rolled a 1. You know, just saying.
Okay, defender. Wow.
All right, I was just saying. Well, you know what? You killed her instantly. Yeah, like the only reaction she gives is just a little jolt and a gasp, and then the life just leaves her body.
And I immediately try and cast Revivify, and I'm gonna pray to every god on this earth that the shit that happened last time doesn't happen again.
Well, let's be fair. Last time she was infected with the vampire goddess essence, and there was nothing you could do about it. But Kyra is free of that essence.
Right.
When you revivify her, she gasps and then just sits up, like she's just woken up from a bad dream.
Can I
take like a medicine check? Does she seem okay? Like,
Go right ahead.
I have advantage for some reason? No, probably
No.
not.
Oh no, your heart is still stabbed.
But
It's
you
so
are allowed to
bleeding.
use your divine sense.
Oh.
Sorry? Oh, I could do my divine sense. Yeah, I'll do that.
You use your divine sense, and you do not sense the presence of any undead, celestials, or fiends anywhere in the vicinity.
Ooh.
Alexander takes a deep breath. Oh, thank God.
Well, you probably sense fiend because Wormwood is.
Well, I do sense. I sense you, obviously.
No, she's not. She's more than 60 feet away.
Wormwood.
Oh,
Wormwood is a fiend.
yeah,
She's
but
more than 60
your
feet away.
wormwood would be with you, and you're not within 60 feet of me.
Yeah, true.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just look at her and I say, "Are you all right?"
She puts her hand on her chest and says, "I think so. I don't know."
I guess we'll know in several days' time because that lich will be coming back, and if he doesn't come back, then it should have worked.
Yep, she nods. All right. Then she looks at you and says, "So what now?"
Now we have to do something that I've been dreading for a while.
Mhm.
We have to go back to the Bleak Academy.
Okay.
She says, "That's true. Covering your tracks, but yeah, we need to cover ourselves, make sure that they can't hurt us."
I know it's going to be difficult for Vierl. And honestly, if he didn't want to go, I'd understand. But if we leave that left, if we leave her to her own devices, it could be a very, very, very grave mistake for when we have to deal with the vampire god.
Let's just do it.
She says, "You may not even wait. She may not even wait for that."
Okay, that's true.
All
Okay.
right.
All
And
right.
because I don't want to do this without Vierl, we'll stop here for the night.
Hey, there we go. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I am okay with that.
It's quite a soul-searching event.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
This
Really
session was really good. I love the fact that we were barely rolling anything for like the first hour. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
We're just talking. Which
Yep.
is great.
By the way, Silvanna, I'm gonna have to increase Vierl's by this too. You and Vierl will get 3,000 experience.
Oh. Okay.
Alexander will get 7,500 experience,
Okay.
Because I
or half
killed
the
Kyra.
experience that Kyra is worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I see.
And we'll have to see if that worked. I'm actually going to calculate because I wonder if I'm level. Well, I'm probably not level 20.
But you're close. You're really.
I'm probably. Well, let me see. I'm just going to calculate right now. Because that would be so awkward. I kill her and all of a sudden wings shoot out of my back.
Yeah.
Yay!
Like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. Experience earned. Can we kill her multiple times? Alex will be like, oh.
Oh, okay. Let's yeah. We're gonna kill her, revive her. I've got three to kill her 3 more times, and that's a sick, like, I don't know, 5,000 experience each time. Totally worth.
Actually, 45,000
45,000. Okay.
for killing her equivalent 3 times.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But speaking of experience, I'm gonna have to start stalking the academy now.
Because the main like I said, like I was being completely honest, where I was like, Alexander does not want to go back because he knows how painful of an experience that was for Vierl.
Yeah.
But he knows that if we don't deal with her now, it's going to come back at us. It always has. It always has.
It's gonna come back and haunt us.
Plus, also Vierl's stuff is there, and
That's true.
I feel like he kind of wants to get his stuff back.
He does.
That was awesome.
I wonder in the end, will we witness a god battle, like a battle between the gods?
We might.
For Bahamut.
If there is a final battle, you will certainly be taking part in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. Just saying. I don't know if
He's just wondering
Yeah.
if well, don't spoil it obviously,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
he's just wondering,
Yeah.
like he's thinking to himself like, oh man, is there gonna be like, yeah, that was like the best quote. He's just wondering. Well, he feels that like it's gonna be like a confrontation between the gods.
Yeah.
Might be like
Because
like
right
the
now
possible.
the scale is kind of
The scale
beyond-
is getting cranked. It's
Yeah.
getting
Oh
cranked.
yeah, believe me, I'm going to start cranking it even higher.
Yeah.
But if it is a battle, I don't know. I have an idea of how it's going to play out. I have an idea, but I honestly don't know how it's going to play out. You guys,
Yeah.
the thing about D&D is you can plan all you like, but all it takes is one player action
Yeah.
to
To
throw all
change
of that off the rails.
To change
Old Man
everything.
Henderson is the example that I would give for
Yeah.
why you should have an idea where you want to go, but you
Mhm.
shouldn't really cement it.
Yeah.
True.
I learned that last week with my group because I had them fight a death zeppelin,
Yeah.
Ooh.
and literally a zeppelin that had like it was literally like a it was like shooting out undead out of cannons.
Nice.
And
my
it's just
God.
like
That's
yeah, and it was basically like, and there were so many crazy moments where I think the craziest moment is that the thing had cannons and it was going to fire on one of the NPCs, and I
Mhm.
guess the PC really cared about this NPC, so he's like, I stand in front of her, and I'm like, wait, what?
What the F?
And then he's like, okay, you take 87 points of bludgeoning damage. Are you unconscious? No. So you just stand there like a fucking badass.
Yeah, I stand there.
Yeah.
The undead comes and splatters across me. I'm still alive. I'm like, is that the best you can do?
That's basically what happened. But the best part
Oh
was
my
I'm like, okay, so they're going to destroy this Death Zeppelin. And then
Mhm.
they're like, let's get on the Death Zeppelin. I'm like, okay, I don't have a map of the interior of the Death Zeppelin.
Oh my
So we're just going to fucking do this on the fly.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I really need them to get off this Death Zeppelin. So I'm like, I have one of the guards run into like the bridge and like smash the steering wheel, and it's pointed towards like the castle that they were trying to protect.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, no, we can't have that happen. So the fucking paladin starts casting mending for like every single round, just like fix the wheel, fix the wheel, fix the wheel.
What I would have done is, if I were in that situation, I would have been like, okay, does anyone have a shield? Good, we're going to jury rig a wheel here.
Oh
Yeah,
my
basically.
God,
Yeah. They almost did that to a certain. I think one of them was gearing up to do that, but then they just casted mending. And the best part was, I was like, okay, so the Death Zeppelin's yours. And then they get this great idea where it's like, we're gonna fill the Death Zeppelin up with gunpowder because they think that this mission succeeded.
Mhm.
But they have no reason to believe that it would otherwise. We're gonna Trojan horse this shit back to the enemy base,
So smart.
and we're gonna blow it up.
Oh my
And I'm like, yeah, that would work. And my 7-level dungeon is gonna become 1-level dungeon because there's gonna be nothing left.
That's actually, well, you know what? If the bad guys have any way of gathering information, maybe they were scrying at just the right moment and heard
Well,
their plan.
honestly, I think what's gonna happen is that because I don't want to rob them of that because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But what I am going to do is that the final boss of the encounter is probably smart enough to not send her. Like, it's going to be an illusion
Yeah.
that she sends out, and then they'll have the rest of the dungeon will be essentially annihilated for the most part. But they'll still have the final boss fight. That's what I think I'm gonna have to do.
But speaking of illusions, as an example of how players turn the tables, there was one of the blogs I read is called Sly Flourish.
Right.
It's for the lazy dungeon master like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the stories he was running Tyranny of Dragons.
Ooh.
And he decided to deviate a little from the established path and have the players establish their own path to get to the Well of Dragons.
Right.
Now, during that, at one point they encountered an Aboleth. He was expecting, okay, it's going to be a running fight with this thing. Wizard drops Force Cage on top of the thing. And then the party is poking it with sticks while wondering what they're going to do about it.
Oh.
It's like, how do we kill this thing? And they're discussing it openly in front of the creature. And then the creature speaks to them.
Mhm.
And it tells them about how, the Epiphytic Serenity, our little group, we want to stop Tiamat from returning.
Oh.
We want to stop all this bad stuff from happening too. And we can do that. We're going to be able to do that, but we can do it more effectively if we were to pool our resources with yours.
Oh, this
Well, one
sounds-
negotiation led to another, bargains were made, and 2 of the PCs ended with tentacles up their noses as part of the bargain.
Oh my god.
That's what you can do. That's how an Ebolith in a cage wins a fight.
That wins a fight. My favorite was my buddy still mocks me and my friends for this one because it was the stupidest scenario possible. Because we had just gone into D&D and we didn't understand how trolls worked.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
So what happened is that we had 2 trolls, right? And then what happened was we didn't understand the fire mechanic or the acid mechanic. So I just shot a random fireball just for damage. And the troll died. And I was like, great, the troll just died. Cool.
And he gets back up.
Yeah.
No. This is what happened. The first one died to my fireball, but we had no idea that the fire was what actually sealed the deal, right? And then the second one we killed with like melee weapons, and then it just started to regenerate, and we were like, what the fuck? So it's like, okay, let's cut off its legs. Okay, its legs are growing back. Let's cut off its arms.
Oh
Its
my
arms is
God.
growing back. And my buddy fucking, it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. I carved the fucking heart out. I jump on the troll's chest. I rip its heart out. I stab it 6 times, and I throw it across like the field. Is it dead yet?
The heart regenerates.
And then we're just, and the best part was after that we're all sitting there dumbfounded onto what to do, and then he's like, and that's all the time we have, folks, because I've got to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, we'll have to continue this epic fight with these trolls that you guys can't kill for some reason. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do? And then next session I kind of cheated.
Yeah.
Because I was
Going
like, what the
online.
fuck are we
Yeah.
supposed to do? I look up the monster manual. I'm like, are you fucking serious? and then I'm like, oh, I cast Fireball again. And he's like, you did your homework. It was just so hilarious. It was just hilarious because it was like, I think it was like 20 minutes of us trying to just kill this regenerating troll.
Which is good.
For me, one of the biggest plot twists was when Vierl gated Kyra in, and then I had her rip her hand off. Or she actually made the save and was able to rip her hand off as an action.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that too, because she had to roll really high for that.
Oh, she has a very high charisma score, and she rolled a natural 20,
Yeah.
as I recall, and then she's just like, nope.
Well, that was hilarious because we were laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be an intense fight. She's gonna be because
Round 2,
Yeah.
rips her
round
hand off.
2, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, it was hilarious. Well, the reason why I was expecting such a dangerous fight was because she was the one that fucking knocked Silvanna unconscious.
With
We were
one
all-
attack, yes.
Yeah, we
One.
were all scattered it
Yeah.
to the wind at one point.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah,
just
no, I'm-
how chaotic D&D can be, and how
Yeah.
fun we extract from D&D. It's because of
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
look at it like this. You guys are playing the game with me,
Yeah.
and I'm playing with you.
Exactly. That is kind of how you have to see it. Honestly, the thing that I'm so excited to get the conclusion of this story, and I'm also super excited to try out a different character, because it's like, this is shocking, but like this is the 3rd character I've played, like
Really?
ever.
Third?
Yeah, I played a cleric that had no character whatsoever.
Mhm.
Just
Like,
a
because
player.
I was just dumb. I didn't know what D&D was at the time.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about him was just that I suplexed a bugbear into a fire pit.
Oh, right. In my Adventure Time game, the monk, that was his signature move. Like, whenever he killed someone, it's like, okay, how do you want to finish him off? I suplex him. You suplex a 2,000-pound, 10-foot tall stone golem.
Yeah,
Yes,
the thing that pissed,
I punch him in the
that-
stomach and then suplex him.
Nice. The thing that
Okay,
pissed off the
suplex him.
DM so much is that I had a strength score of 9,
Oh man.
and I rolled a natural 20 to do this, and he
Oh
was
my
just
God.
like, oh, okay. And then of course my second character was Bartimaeus,
Yeah.
and then my third character is Alexander Anderson, and those are the only characters that I've really played. So
Nice.
For me, I've played a couple. When I've played with my brother, my first character was basically a ripoff of me. Had my personality, my voice.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the way to
that's
do it.
usually how we start up. Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then my second character, as I recall, was like the first time I actually brought the Scottish accent out. He was a dwarf wizard.
Ooh. Which is it's a
Basically,
really good combination.
it's not optimized.
Yeah.
I'll say that it's not optimized, but basically his what he cast with was an orb, a crystal that he personally mined and polished himself.
Ooh.
So yeah, he's like one of the things he'd do is like he would shout, "The dwarves are upon you!" and then he cast fireball, but the fireball would look like a charging dwarf.
Oh, that's so good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
really
good.
And one, if you're looking though for an idea, one idea that I did have for a character is a hexblade warlock.
Ooh.
Mhm.
They made a pact with this, not any kind of a creature, but with like the ultimate weapon.
Mhm.
And like there's a limited number of other warlocks out there that have made some pact with the creature, with the weapon. And the weapon says that the warlocks have to find and kill each other, and that the last one standing will get to wield this weapon.
Ooh.
That's
There
pretty
can
good.
only be one.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Highlander?
Yeah, no, I
That's
got the
exactly
reference
what
right
it is.
away.
Oh
There
my
can
God.
only be one.
Yeah, have them.
So-
they all get to wear like trench coats and have their X blades hidden under the coats. Everything.
Yeah, and then the DM just starts blasting Queen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly. That was the idea. I mean, if a DM can't make a story out of that, they need to go back to being a player, because that can be like the source of an entire campaign.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because in the current campaign I'm running, I had someone who was a hexblade,
Yeah.
and he basically had a cursed sword
Ooh.
in which he found a way, using a bunch of crazy magic shit, to move the cursed sword spirit. It was basically a demon
Okay.
Yeah.
into a gun.
Oh,
And,
that's amazing.
He essentially had a sniper rifle with a demon inside of it.
Nice.
And the thing that happened is that I gave it so that the demon was getting powerful, and that basically the final part of it was just like, okay, the demon's going to ask you, I need you to let me take control of you for a little while, and then we can unlock my full potential.
Mhm.
And the player had a moment where it's like, we might die to this boss if I don't. So he went, fuck it, let's go. And then I went to DM's Guild and I grabbed the corruption PDF.
Yeah.
And for like the next couple sessions, he started coughing more. He started having welts on his back at some point.
Yeah.
And then I told him, because it was really cool, because there was a moment in which basically he ended up sacrificing his life so essentially the deity that he had been looking for could bring him back.
Oh.
And when he did that, the demon like ripped himself out of his chest, and they had to
Charlon
fight.
style.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a lot of fun, and it was basically he abandoned the hexblade to become a celestial warlock.
That's
It was
amazing.
It was a cool moment.
Really.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, and one more idea that I did have was two ideas was with kobolds. The first was a kobold warlock, pact with a fiend, but instead of making a pact with some devil or demon, he makes a pact with a Charlon.
Ah,
The red
okay.
dragon.
Yeah.
So instead of like hurl through hell, instead of that like sending them on a trip through hell, that's just then getting a very, 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 very concentrated dose of the dragon's terrifying presence.
Ah, okay.
Or instead of like hellish rebuke, instead of it being hellfire, it's dragon fire.
Ooh,
Nice.
interesting.
And the other one was for sort of a comic relief character, was a kobold fighter. Like he's got a short sword. His he likes to pretend he's a knight, so he's got his short sword. He's got the armor that he's made out of pots and pans. His shield is a tavern sign that has a chicken painted on it, like Sir Robin from Monty Python.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Does he have a couple of coconuts and says he's riding a horse?
No, that's his squire.
Oh,
That's the squire.
That's the squire. Yeah,
Yeah.
I should know the lore by now. Jesus.
Yeah. But and when people question him about the chicken, he just asks them if they've ever faced an angry chicken before. Well, I mean, when you're his size, an angry chicken can be a very fearsome enemy.
Don't worry, I've played Zelda. Chickens are horrifying.
Yeah, chickens are worst. The worst.
I played Fable. Chickens are immortal.
Yeah, chickens are immortal in that game.
If you played Fable, like you can kick them, you can shoot them, you can throw magic at them. They will just bounce around squawking. They will never die.
Yeah.
The magic that can wipe out an army of bandits will just simply make a chicken fly around.
Yeah.
Chicken's very frightening. And the idea was that the kobold would eventually go like the arcane route, the arcane knight route.
Oh my god.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be a really, really cool character to do.
That'd be a funny character. Yeah. All right. Well, unless you guys get questions, I am going to relax a bit before I go to work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, you definitely need your rest, man, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sure.
All right.
I actually have a conclusion to part 1 that I have to plan in like 4 hours.
Nah.
So that's gonna be fun. I'll figure it out.
But you have a conclusion for your campaign?
Well, I have my campaigns in like 3 parts. And
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the end of part 1.
Book 1.
Yeah, book 1. That's kind of what I'm going for.
Book 1.
Yeah.
Water.
But yeah,
Book
I'll
2.
talk to you guys later then.
Yeah,
for sure.
talk to you
All right.
later.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys next week.
All right. Good game. Good night.